All right, let's jump right into this explainer today because we're exploring something that is just profoundly misunderstood. We're going to look at how a noisy, crowded mind can suddenly take a fleeting, totally passing thought and turn it into a terrifying, immediate emergency. You see, we're looking at OCD today not as some mysterious, random affliction, but actually as a system. It's a machine. And the good news? It's a machine that we can unmask, understand, and ultimately rewrite. To really understand this system, we have to start with a big question. Why does a random passing thought suddenly feel like a life or death warning? Well, picture this. Imagine you have a home security system that is just incredibly overly sensitive. So sensitive that it triggers a deafening, blaring alarm just because a single leaf brushed against the window. Your heart races, right? Your body reacts exactly as if there's an actual burglar breaking into your house. Your body is essentially tricked into believing the danger is absolutely real, even when the noise itself proves nothing. That is exactly what OCD does. And look, we've got to get one fundamental truth straight right out of the gate. The anxiety is intensely real. The threat is not always. The core issue of OCD isn't just having strange or unwanted thoughts. I mean, we all have those, right? The difference is that the OCD brain persistently locks onto those thoughts. It flags them as urgently unfinished. It demands immediate attention. It doesn't feel real because it's true. It feels real because the brain literally will not let it go.
Section 1. The core loop underneath.
Now, if we look closely at the engine running underneath that feeling, we see something super interesting. OCD is not some random weakness. Actually, it's a highly structured repeating loop. And honestly, once you understand this loop, a whole lot of the confusion and mystery just kind of falls away. Let's just walk through this cycle together. It kicks off with a trigger, maybe a sudden thought, an image, a what if that pops into your head. Boom, then comes the alarm. The brain starts screaming, "Pay attention, this is dangerous." And that intense discomfort, that drives a compulsion. You do something, anything really, just to fix the feeling or grab some certainty. And finally, that brings us to temporary relief. The anxiety drops. But as we're about to see, that fleeting, deceptive sense of relief, that is exactly where the trap snaps shut. Before we get into the trap itself, let's look at the very first major mistake this loop makes. A normal, passing thought is really just mental noise. It's like harmless radio static, you know? It's there in the background, but it's not a message you deliberately chose to broadcast. OCD, however, mistakenly treats that exact same static as an absolute, factual court verdict. It takes a random thought and treats it as undeniable evidence of danger or undeniable truth. Section 2. The trap of relief. Okay, here is the ultimate plot twist of this whole condition. Doing a compulsion just to get relief, it acts exactly like scratching a severe itch that you know you shouldn't scratch. Sure, you get a short, immediate burst of relief right in that moment. But what happens next? Your skin gets more irritated, the inflammation spreads, and the urge to scratch comes back, like 10 times stronger the next time. Compulsions do not solve the alarm. They actually teach your brain that the alarm was entirely right to go off in the first place. And because the brain is absolutely convinced this alarm is real, the loop survives by making impossible demands for absolute certainty. It demands things like, prove I'm not a bad person, or prove I didn't forget something important, or prove this situation is 100% safe. These are literally impossible. We live in a messy, human world where perfect certainty just simply doesn't exist. Trying to satisfy these demands, it's like trying to finish writing a sentence while someone is constantly erasing your last word. And it's really vital to know that compulsions aren't always obvious, visible actions like washing your hands or checking locks. Sometimes they take the form of hidden avoidance, avoiding sharp objects, staying away from certain places, or even avoiding making decisions altogether. This avoidance dramatically shrinks a person's world, and what's worse, it accidentally teaches the brain that the thing you're avoiding must truly be dangerous because, well, you're working so hard to stay away from it. If you take away just one single thing from the mechanics of this machine today, let it be this right here. OCD survives by turning uncertainty into emergency and relief into reinforcement. This is purely a problem of learning. It's not a character failure, it's not a weakness, and it's definitely not a mystery. It is simply a brain that has learned a very, very convincing but deeply unhelpful rule. Section 3. Interrupting the cycle. So, if it's a learned rule, how do we actually unlearn it? Over time, the OCD loop just gets stronger and faster. Think of an autofocus camera that gets stuck, continuously hunting for a subject to focus on. It gets trained to detect threats everywhere, snapping to focus way too quickly on false alarms.
Our goal isn't to smash the camera, right? Our goal is to retrain the focus.
And here is the absolutely crucial point. Honestly, this is massive. Safety is not the same as certainty. If you wait around for perfect certainty before you allow yourself to just feel peace, you're going to be trapped forever. Life rarely, if ever, offers us perfect certainty.
So interrupting the loop isn't about magically turning off your thoughts. No way. It's about giving your brain a brand new experience. Look at how this new sequence plays out. The alarm appears, but this time, no ritual happens. Now, yes, the anxiety is definitely going to rise, but then, naturally, on its own, it falls. And the brain learns something absolutely incredible. Nothing terrible occurred. The alarm was not a reliable guide. By building a tolerance for that uncertainty, you effectively starve the loop of the relief it desperately needs to survive.
Section 4. From Coping to Confidence.
When you finally learn to read this pattern, you stop exhausting yourself and you start building real, lasting strength. Because the ultimate goal here isn't to magically never feel doubt ever again. I mean, that's just not human. The real change is adopting this calmer identity where you can firmly say, I can feel doubt without treating it like a command. Doubt is totally allowed to exist in your mind. It can sit in the passenger seat, sure, but it absolutely no longer gets to touch the steering wheel. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. What if you could feel doubt today without treating it like a command? Remember, OCD is just a learned rule. A convincing one, for sure, but just a rule. And with time, patience, and a willingness to just sit with a little bit of uncertainty, that rule can absolutely, confidently be rewritten.